Obviously, you've changed your mind, and that would be as a process of different and additional information that you've collected over time, which is really the purpose of why I want to talk to you, is to make that information available to more people.
Yeah.
So listening to the opponents to nuclear energy, I think to go straight to the centre of the argument, the main thing we're all hearing over and over again is that nuclear should remain illegal and be off the table as a topic because it's preposterously expensive.
Yeah, so that's right. You're right that is one of the first arguments that is raised against nuclear energy. It's too expensive and it takes too long. Those two things are related to one another. So I would say that is not a correct conclusion to say that nuclear energy is too expensive, full stop. But I think before we come to that, we should say that to make the argument that you should ban something because it's too expensive is a crazy argument. I mean, if we banned things because they were too expensive, we might be banning Teslas, for example.
Is that the reason? Because John Howard was the Prime Minister who led the federal bans on nuclear energy. Was that his reason?
My understanding of it is that the government was putting certain pieces of legislation through the Parliament. One of those was a piece of legislation to replace the research reactor at Lucas Heights, so that the previous reactor, the favour reactor, was coming to the end of its life, needed to be replaced. There was legislation needed to provide for a new reactor, and at the same time there was other legislation going through. So the EPBC Act to streamline major project approvals, and I think also the Goods and Services Tax, the GST, was being passed through at the same time.
So what was the motivation of the people who did lead the argument for the ban?
Well, the people who led the argument for the ban were opposed to nuclear energy in general, and my understanding is that a condition of agreeing to provide for a new research reactor was that this ban be inserted on other uses of nuclear energy. So the GST, I believe, was in the frame in the political horse trading, but most importantly was the need for the new research reactor. Yep. So it was certainly not the case that John Howard was in support of banning nuclear energy. I think that's clear, and any suggestion that he was is historically wrong and misleading.
Okay, well that is an argument the Greens offer up, that John Howard banned it.
Yeah, and I'm saying that is not correct, and I'm saying that's a historical misrepresentation, and I'm sure if you talk to Mr. Howard, he would make that very clear.
Yeah.
But the price that had to be paid to get the new research reactor involved this ban. And then, of course, subsequently, Mr. Howard was working to overturn the ban. He was supporting the Switkowski, he called the Switkowski Review, which was a review of nuclear energy in Australia, and he was doing other work to remove the ban. But of course, it still remains. So there's the ban at federal level, there's the Victorian ban I referred to, there's a ban in New South Wales that was introduced in 1986, which incidentally is the year that the Chernobyl disaster occurred, and there are bans in other state legislation around the country.